Good morning. Today we are starting our next unit, Unit 6, I believe, right?
Yeah.
We on Unit 6 already. So we're starting our next unit. PO34. It is a power objective, so we're starting with a really strong one. This is building off of our last unit. Okay, this is I can use direct proportions in real context. So we did proportions in our last unit. Yeah, let's not do that anymore. It's very distracting. So let's look at what we are doing in this objective. There are three types of proportions. Oh goodness, we are learning new stuff today. Ooh, lots of new. Okay. Most of us have never heard of direct, partitive, and inverse proportions. Okay. Yeah, but we don't know the other ones. We're going to be quiet and really focus it. We need to lock in on this. Focus on the math. Direct proportions and partitive proportions will seem familiar, while inverse proportions will likely be new. So we're going to see what they all mean. A direct proportion is the relation between quantities whose ratio is constant. So a direct proportion is the relation between quantities whose ratio is constant. So this objective is going to require concepts from past lessons. Remember I said that last unit we did with proportions coming back. And it's going to include the unit rates and proportions. So we're going to, that's why we're starting off. Usually we don't start off right away with the power objective. It usually starts off a little bit easier, but because we're building on the last unit, we're going right into the power objective because we're using our previous knowledge. So this is how we're going to use that direct proportion. So today I said there were three types of proportions. Today is focusing just on the direct proportion. Okay. So we're not doing all three types of proportions at once, just the direct proportion. So let's look at how we use direct proportion. And notice how it says, show your work. So we're not just going to do mental math with it, or just use our calculator. We're showing how we are doing it. So a car travels 300 miles in 6 hours. We need to know how many miles the car can travel in 8 hours. How many feet does the car travel in 8 hours? How many miles is the car traveling per hour? And how many feet is the car traveling per second? So we're going to bring it down to unit rates with the per hour and the per second. We have to go from miles down to feet. So this is all stuff that we did previously. Lots of steps in this one question. So let's look at how we're going to do. We have A, B, C, and D. We're going to tackle it just one at a time. So let's look at A. What do you think we need to do to solve how many miles can the car travel in 8 hours? What steps do you think we have to do, Grace?
See how many it can go in 1 hour and then times it by 8.
We have to break it down to that unit rate. So if we know it can travel 300 miles in 6 hours, what is the unit rate for that? How do I find the unit rate, Jude?
You divide 300 by 6.
I divide both the top and the bottom by 6. Because remember that unit rate means we have 1 hour on the bottom. So 6 divided by 6 is 1 hour. 300 divided by 6 would be how many miles in 1 hour?
50.
Oh, I wrote it before you said it. 50 miles in 1 hour. So now that we know our unit rate, can we say how many miles it's gonna go in 8 hours?
Yes.
Yeah, what do I have to do?
Multiply by 8.
Multiply by 8. What is 50 times 8?
400.
So it can go 400 miles. So you can, if you have room, you could write it there, or you could go down here and say the answer to A is 400 miles because we multiplied it by 8. Notice how I did show my work here. I showed that I was multiplying it by 8. So you can't just write the answer. You have to say what you're doing. I multiplied by 8. How many feet does the car travel in 8 hours? Well, we know how many miles it travels in 8 hours. How can I find how many feet it travels? Henry, what do you think we have to do?
We can multiply 400 by 5,280.
Why 5,280, Henry?
Because there are 5,280 feet per mile.
If we look back at our conversion table, we can see that there are 5,280 feet in 1 mile. So we need to multiply that by the 400 miles, and we get 2,112,000 feet. Again, notice how I showed my work. I said what I'm multiplying, because I know there's 5,280 feet and it's 400 miles. So now let's look at C. How many miles is the car traveling per hour? Oh, we already answered that. We already found that unit rate. That was an easy one, because we already had to do that math. So let's look at D. How many feet is the car traveling per second? What do you think I have to do? What do you think, Kaylin?
So you know how many it is for 1 hour, so you have to divide that by 60 and divide seconds are an hour. Yeah.
So hold on. If we know our unit rate is 50 miles in 1 hour, right? How do I?
3,672.
We have to convert both the miles to feet and the hour to seconds. Because it says how many feet per second. So we know it's 50 miles per hour. How many feet per hour? So if it's 50 miles per hour, how many feet would that be? What do I have to multiply it by? Lucas?
You multiply by 5,280.
Yeah, I have to multiply that by 5,280 to get to the feet. So how many feet are in 1 hour?
There are 264,000 feet in the
264,000
and then
feet in 1 hour. And we know 1 hour is the same as 60
so you
minutes.
have to divide by 60 to get 1 minute. And then you or you can just multiply 60 by
So if I'm at 60 minutes, 1 hour is 60 minutes.
64,000 by 60 to get 1 minute or
No. If I know, hold on, friends. I've already converted the top to feet. Now I need to convert.
second. You're divided. You need to divide by 60.
Why do you?
You're dividing by
Yes,
60 and
gotcha.
and then
I gotcha. So I'm gonna divide by 60.
and then divide by 60. Divided by 3,000. Or you can just multiply 60 by 400 or 4,400.
So it'll be 4,400 feet
And then
in 1 minute.
so then you divide by.
Because we were at 60 minutes and we want to get down to 1 minute. So we needed to divide both sides by 60.
And then you divide again by 60. We already have. And we have.
Now we have,
Once.
now we had 1 minute is 60 seconds and we want to get down to 1 second. So we're going to divide by 60.
And you get 73 feet 4 inches.
Yeah.
Or.
73.3 repeating.
Yeah, so it's 4 inches. Because a third of a foot is 4 inches.
Yeah, that's
Or you can just do the decimal. I'm okay with the decimal too. That's fine. So this one was a little bit more complicated for us, right? Because we had to go from miles to feet, and then we had to go from hours to minutes to seconds. Peyton.
I did it where I just already had the feet of 2,112,000.
Yep.
So I just multiplied 8 by 60 twice. 'Cause
So
you do it for
what
minutes
Peyton
and
said
minutes.
was, hey, I'm gonna use this number. So I know it's 2,112,000 feet. And that's in 8 hours, right? So then what did you do?
I multiplied 8 by 60 twice, because you multiply it once for the minutes. Because there's 60 minutes in, 60 minutes in an hour.
60 times 8.
Yeah, that's what I said.
What? Yes.
Yeah.
But he's doing it out of
You're multiplying or dividing?
Multiplying. Because you multiply 8
He's
to
doing
get
60
minutes.
times 60 times 8.
Yeah, 60 times.
But you have to divide this by
Yes,
all of
then he's
those.
gonna take that number and divide
Yeah,
it.
then I do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah,
you
I
did
got
do the
bottom
divide.
first, and then I got the
So Peyton worked the bottom way first and then figured out the top. Okay. So it's multi-step is the point of this. There are different ways to solve it. Actually, the way that I had written down on the paper starts with this, and I divided down to 1 hour. So I divided by 8, then I divided down to minutes, then I divided down to seconds. So figure out which route you're going to take, but make sure you're multiplying and dividing the correct way. I'm not sure why there's conversations. So we have, let's do the next one together, and then the second page is going to be your work to work on. So let's do the second one together to make sure that we're understanding what to do. A 40-ounce jug of grape juice costs $4.80. At this rate, how much would 65 ounces of juice cost? So what do we need to do? $4.80 is 40 ounces.
So 4.80 divided by 40.
You are correct, Grayson. We want to go down to how much is 1 ounce. So it's 11 cents.
Yep.
For 1 ounce.
Oh, I got 12. I got 12 cents.
Yep, I was looking at the work for a different one.
And then times 65.
I was looking at the wrong spot on my paper.
Times 65 would be 7.8.
Hold on. What was your question, Gabe?
Wait, you got 12?
Yep, because we do 4.8 divided by 40.
Oh, I did the wrong.
That's exactly what I did.
So then, what do we have to do, Grayson?
Times by 65.
Times it by 65 because we want 65 ounces. So how much is that?
7.8.
$7.80. Remember, when we're working with money, we always go to that 100th place. So A would be $7.80. So now let's look at B. You find a different brand of grape juice that is 35 ounces for a jug of $3.08. 35 ounces a jug. 35 ounce jug for $3.85. which jug of juice is a better price? So we need to find the price per ounce for that 35-ounce jug. So we know it's $3.85 for 35 ounces. We need to go down to 1 ounce, so divide by 35. $3.85 divided by 35 gets us 11 cents. So is that the answer to my question?
No.
What was the
Times
question? The 35-ounce jug is cheaper. That answers my question. Just telling me that it's 11 cents does not answer the question of which jug of juice is the better price. You need to give the answer. Which one is better, 11 cents an ounce or 12 cents an ounce? The 35 ounces for 11 cents an ounce is cheaper. I'm sorry. I wasn't multiplying anything. Here, I multiplied by 65 because we went up to 65 ounces.
Look how perfect that
So I did, was that the one you're asking about, Lauren? Yeah, that's why I multiplied by 65, because we had a 65 ounce jug.
Look how perfect that oval is.
I'm recording this, friends. I should not have side conversations. I should not have random blurt outs. This is a recording. One more question. You have $20 to spend and decide to purchase as many jugs as you can of the juice that is the cheaper per price. So the 35 ounce. How many jugs can you buy with $20 and how much money will you have left over? So what should be our first step? If we know our one jug is $3.85, what do you think I should do? Olivia?
Divide 20 by $3.85.
I'm going to divide my $20 by that $3.85. What do I get? Grace?
$5.19. Which is 5.1.
5.19.
Yeah.
It's not going to be dollars. Because what is 5.19 telling us what we can buy?
By 5.
That's how many jugs we can buy. So can I buy 0.19 of a jug of juice at the store? We only have jugs that are 35 ounces. So we look back at our question. How many jugs can you buy with $20? And how much money will you have left over? So am I using my complete $20? No. How many jugs, full jugs, can I buy? Madden? I can buy 5 full jugs. That is one answer. How many jugs can I buy? I can buy 5 jugs. How do I find how much money is left over? 0.19 is how much of a jug of juice is left over. What should I do, Matthew?
Do 3.85 times 5.
I'm buying 5 bottles of juice for $3.85. What do I get?
19.25.
19.25.
75.
So I'm spending $19.25 on 5 jugs. I need to subtract from my $20. And I can see that there is 75 cents left over. That is my complete answer. 5 jugs with 75 cents left over. So you always have to stop and think. The math I'm doing is telling me what? When I did $20 divided by $3.85, my dollars cancel off. Dollars divided by dollars. So I was left with 5.19. That was 5 19/100 of another bottle of juice. So that's telling me how many bottles of juice I can get. So 5 whole jugs. Then I have to do the next steps to figure out how much money is left. So these are not easy peasy questions. Some of them are. Oh, I know how to find the unit rate. I've done that. But then we have to stop and think, what math do I have to do to solve some of these? What answer am I getting? Is it money? Is it jugs? Okay, so you really have to think this through. Any questions on what we're doing today? So we have, on the next page I said is our work page. We have 3 different sets of problems. You set a goal for the summer, making $3,000, answer A and B. As of today, you passed 68% of your course objectives. Oh my, we need to get that up there. Answer A, B, and C. And 1 apple weighs the same as 2 kiwis. Answer A, B, C, and D. And then we have a review on the bottom. So remember, tomorrow is our math test. So we are not correcting this tomorrow. Tomorrow's Thursday. Friday is our retake and con day. Remember, if you have retakes that you're going to do, get me the practice work early so I can have it corrected before class on Friday so we can do retakes right away. So give me practice work before Friday's class so I can just hand you the retake. So we are actually correcting this, not Monday. Monday's Martin Luther King Jr. Day. We are correcting this on Tuesday. Do not say, oh, I didn't get it done today. That's fine. I have plenty of time to do it. And then forget. Do not forget, even though we're not correcting until Tuesday, this is our first homework of this unit. Don't make me put a missing in for our first homework of the unit. Make sure you remember to complete this. Doing this homework tonight will help prepare you for the math test tomorrow. So it would be a good idea to get this homework done tonight. So it gives you just a little bit of a head start on tomorrow's test, because you might have direct proportions on tomorrow's test. Okay, so finish using our work time right now. And if you are watching this at home, I hope you are well. I hope to see you soon. Have a wonderful day.